Good evening and welcome to Talking Point. I'm your host, Dr. Corey Wright, coming to you live from the studios of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation in Accra. Talking Point comes to you live this and every Sunday and engage you in discussions for informed decision making. We're also streaming live on GBC Ghana Online, on Facebook at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, and as always, we welcome those listening to us on Unique 95.7. Last week, the Northern Development Authority, along with civil society associations, held an investment summit in Jirapa to attract investors to the Northern Development Zone. The summit theme was accelerating development of Northern Ghana through investments and partnerships, jobs, peace, and security. Our guests tonight will share more about the conference and let us know what kind of stimulating conversations were held in order to improve investments in the area. We encourage you to join in the discussion by sending your messages during the show using our WhatsApp number 055-744-6429. Our panelists tonight are on my far left, Ms. Jamilatu Mashood. She's a project manager, sector influence at the Catholic Relief Services. And on my immediate left is Mr. Stephen Engman. He's the Deputy CEO of the Northern Development Authority. Welcome to you both.
Thank you very much.
So I know we're here to talk about the summit, but it was organized or convened, I should say, by the Northern Development Authority in association with some civil society organizations and I think the regional ministers. So maybe you could just start by telling us a little bit about the goals of the Northern Development Authority, just briefly.
Thank you very much. Act 963 of 2017 promulgated the Northern Development Act, and there are broad areas for which the Northern Development Authority is expected to undertake to transform Northern Ghana. But first of all, we are supposed to facilitate activities in Northern Ghana that can lead to poverty reduction. We are supposed to coordinate the activities of other development partners in Northern Ghana. And then we are also supposed to undertake activities that will reduce poverty and inequality. And we are also supposed to enter into bilateral or multilateral relationship with private sector individuals who want to invest in Northern Ghana.
Okay.
So these are some of the broad areas that the NDA is engaged in.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so Ms. Mashood, the Catholic Relief Services is a civil service organization partnering with the authority to host projects like this. What is your main interest in wanting to see that development also, and what are your goals that align very well with what they are trying to do?
Thank you very much, Doug. I think, as you rightly mentioned, Catholic Relief Services is a civil society organization, like you have many others like Star Ghana and others. And for us, development of the North is a collective decision. And all actors, whether civil society, whether government, private sector, we are joining hands to ensure that no one is left behind. Because I think globally we have an ambition of these sustainable development goals where we want development to be equal, and if we are to achieve this ambition, then we have to work together to achieve this aim. So Catholic Relief Service, as you know, you would wonder why a civil society organization would be interested in partnering with the Northern Development Authority. But over the years, since 1958, we have been in the northern part of the country because I think data has shown, even from the UNDP report of the Human Development Report of 2018, indicated that the northern zone, which includes Upper East, Upper West, has been left behind in terms of development. And for us, this has been our operational areas. And we've been supporting in areas of agric, health, education, that's water, sanitation and hygiene, and even gender. Okay. And recently we are looking at peace building because of the porous borders.
Okay.
So for us, it's our mandates or our work aligns very much with that of the NDA.
Okay, so Mr. Engman, I want to come back to you and talk about Article 36 of the Constitution. Of the 1992, that states that the state shall, as a matter of principle, undertake even and balanced development of all regions and every part of each region of Ghana, and in particular improve the conditions of life in the rural areas and generally any imbalance in development between the rural and urban areas. I guess this is really one of the reasons why the investment forum for you is so important.
Very, very, and that is why, if we even go deeper into the history behind the Northern Ghana Development Summit, you realize that some years back, going as far back as 2001 and 2002, the then 3 regional coordinating councils realized that there was a need for the 3 regions to come together.
And the 3 regions are?
The 3 regions, then Northern region, Upper West region, and the Upper East region.
Okay.
The planning officers in these regions thought that there was a need for them to come and chart a common course in reducing poverty in Northern Ghana. And coincidentally, this period was the time when we were dispersing the HIPIC Relief Fund. And you remember Ghana prepared its poverty eradication, or Ghana a strategy paper on poverty eradication. And that time the regional coordinating council called it a common basket, where all the funds or relief support to all the regions or all DAs all over the country were spread. But these people thought that there was a need for a particular attention to be given to Northern Ghana, in the sense that everybody is aware, even the smallest person who is development oriented is aware that there's a gap between Southern Ghana and Northern Ghana, one way or the other. So it was when they started charting this course that other development partners bought into it and said that there was some sense in it. And we still remember around that time that most of our development partners bought into it and provided some funding, especially for education, water, and sanitation in Northern Ghana. Yes, so the NDA, the Northern Development Authority, did not see anything much different from the mandate that is given to us. The mandate given to us is that go out there and make sure that the resources of the state are used in such a way that we will be able to bridge this gap. So in 2-3 years ago, we did the first one in the University for Development Studies in Tamale. The second year we did it in Bolga, and this year we did it in Jirapa in the Upper West region. And you realize that from as we were going to discuss further, every year in and out, there has been an improvement and more interest in the affairs of Northern Ghana, especially when our partners are interested in bridging the gap and reducing poverty. And this time around, it is not just the issue of poverty, it is about reducing inequality in Northern Ghana. And that is why this year summit came off, and there has been a major improvement. It has been a major improvement over the previous years.
Okay, so let me stay with that. When you say major improvement, I know that, was this the first time you added an investment dimension to the summit?
Yes. And
why did you want to do that, and what kind of quantifiable results do you hope to see from that?
Yes, if you look in, you realize that under the same NDA Act, there is a part, Act 2, Article 2, subsection C talks about the NDA having the responsibility to coordinate development activities in the Northern Development Zone with the aim of ensuring that public resources are effectively utilized. But the second one is very much important, that private sector investment has maximum development impact to reduce poverty and deprivation in every part. So we decided, we realized that we shouldn't continue to be relying on government alone to provide what is needed to bridge the gap or reduce poverty and inequality in Northern Ghana. So this year we decided to bring in what we call the investment forum. And the investment forum is basically interested in bringing in the private sector, especially the investors in the areas of agriculture, to come and join us. And we were surprised to see that there was a large team of individuals who are into agriculture and agribusiness coming to participate in this, and those who are also interested in coming to invest. There are already some who are in there who have invested for the past 5-10 years. They were there at the summit to share their experience with the new ones who wanted to come in. Then the new ones will also come in, and already the NDA is having a large group of people who are interested in investing in the NDA zone. And they have been coming to us, especially to see how best we could assist them to acquire land acquisition, linking that with other state institutions like the Lands Commission for them to acquire land and other areas of northern Ghana's economy.
Okay.
So this year, it created an opportunity for potential investors and the state, led by the Northern Development Authority, to tell the opportunities that are available and the facilitator role we can play to ensure that their investment yield or benefits are there for the individual, and the trickling down effect is to reduce poverty in northern Ghana.
Okay, so Ms. Mashoud, you mentioned early agriculture as one of the areas where the Catholic Relief Services has been working over the years since the 50s. And I wanted to ask you, have you been partnering with them for the past, or since the conferences began or the summits began? And if yes, my question is, have you seen that what they are trying to do is augmenting the current goals and objectives that you guys already have, and how that plays along?
Yeah, thank you very much, Doug. I think that this is our first participation in the Northern Development Conference, and indeed we're part of the planning committee. It was a very, very useful interaction and experience for us, because we've done implementation over these years. But to have the government agency come in with all this expertise, and also for us with the field experiences, it was very, very good for us. And for us, this aligns perfectly with our goals, in the sense that we recognize that even though it's government's responsibility to ensure that it bridges this gap, we recognize that government alone cannot do it. So as an organization, we pride ourselves with supporting government to strengthen government systems to be able to deliver or to be able to perform their mandate. So we saw not just in the areas of agric, but also in health, in peace building, which are our core areas, and for the areas that we work in. And I think we were looking beyond the 5 regions to include some aspects of Volta region and Bono areas, which are borders to the northern Ghana. And for Catholic Relief Services, we think that this would not be the last. Moving forward, we are looking at that continuous partnership with NDA, because for all these years, the interventions that we have done, the NDA makes it possible for us to share with others. We had a lot of other organizations. Plan was there, World Vision, many other, and even the embassies and the diplomatic corps. We had the opportunity to share some of our interventions with the participants. So for us, it was a win-win. We see that we are contributing to government's efforts in infrastructure or social services, but we also recognize the support that we have from NDA for us to, in terms of guiding us on even the approach to implementation.
Okay, so Mr. Engman, you talked earlier about investors, a lot of investors that came in. I read somewhere that you also worked in partnership with the Ghana Investment Promotion Center and the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
And what was interesting was that you indicate, and the story indicates that the projects that were pitched were drawn from the NDA master plan.
Yeah.
What is that, and how was that conceived in order to improve things going on in the northern zone?
Yeah, I know we'll get to a section where we'll be thanking GIPC Ghana Chamber of Commerce for all the support they gave to us. But when we say the NDA master plan, it is made up of 3 basic areas. The first one is about an agricultural master plan that intend to, when implemented, will transform the whole Savannah or Guinea Savannah ecological zone. The second one is about making Tamale and Bupe the central point of entry into the northern sector of this country. Seeing where Tamale is strategically located, and Bupe because of the wide volta and intentions put in place for how to develop the waterway so that goods can be moved straight from the Tema Harbor through the volta lake up to the wide volta in Bupe, so that vehicles will not need to come all the way up. And the last one is about developing the tourism potentials of northern Ghana. So within the master plan is a broad area. Then within it you can then go in and segregate it. For instance, let me take the issue about investment in agriculture. Since the days of our predecessor organization, the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority, there have been a lot of advocacy and talk about controlling floods in northern Ghana as a result of the spillage of the Bagre Dam. And I think this has been a perennial activity that is always making us run here to make cry. And in the last summit, we made a cry and call on central government to make an intervention and see how best the Kwalugu multipurpose dam could be constructed at least to solve 3 problems. The first one being that it will be able to resolve the flood issues in northern Ghana or within its catchment area. The second one is that it's going to give us irrigation, to give us some megawatts of power so that it can add up to our power capacity in Ghana. And the last one is that it's going to give us the opportunity for us to produce other crop for export and local production. We are aware that as part of the implementation of the Kwalugu multipurpose dam, about 25,000 hectares of land is under cultivation, and I probably will be saying this in some few minutes time to come as one of the achievements of the Northern Ghana Development Summit. Today as we speak, the Volta River Authority is the implementing agency for the Kwalugu multipurpose dam implementation, and we are working hand in hand with them. Currently, we are currently doing community sensitization for them to see how they can relocate before the dam construction starts in earnest. And the second one is that we are also doing having discussion to see how communities will be compensated, or what kind of compensation they will need before they move. What I just want to say, the master plan is a huge plan that was developed between the then Southern and Northern Development Authority and some other engineers outside the country, the major one being Subara Jerome from Singapore. And they came and we put all this in order. Currently, we are interested in having a review of this document and to complete the remaining negotiation between us and Subara Jerome and see how best we can put into implementation the NDA master plan.
Okay, so Ms. Mashood, let's go back to the summit. The Vice President's speech was read for him, but one of the key things he said was that he urged stakeholders to tackle the details of the theme and endeavor to come up with concrete strategies that could translate into real programs to address the development challenges of Northern Ghana. So you were there, you were part of the planning process, you were there for the implementation. This is what the Vice President said. What sorts of things were key takeaways that you think would go directly to the heart of what he's talking about?
Okay, so thank you very much for your question. Indeed, his speech was read on his behalf by the Upper West Regional Minister. And throughout the planning process, I think we looked at 4 thematic areas, which aligns with what the Vice President was envisaging for the conference, and it included infrastructure, agriculture, social services, and tourism. And from the key takeaways, in fact, we had for the first time when we had the investment forum, you had sessions running up to 7 p.m. and people were so engaged in it. In fact, it was so interesting that we were not looking at our watches. The ideas and the projects that were brought, people were so engrossed in it. And talking about the key takeaways, we're looking at, in terms of education, we all recognize government's role in increasing access to education through the free SHS policy. But we recognize the fact that this has implications on the standard. Increasing numbers meant increasing infrastructure, but that was lagging behind. So it was one thing that we recommended as part of the communique, that we are recommending to government to improve infrastructure in educational facilities, especially for the northern region areas, the hard to reach areas. And we are not just looking at increasing infrastructure, but also improving the service conditions, to improve incentives for teachers who would want to go to such areas. And directly related to that is looking at solving that disconnect between the graduates and industries. So you have graduates who don't have jobs, and they don't have jobs because they are not employable. The kind of skills they have, industry does not need those skills. So we are recommending to government to prioritize the technical vocational educational training. Is one key thing that we want to push forward. And in terms of health service, we are looking at government improving infrastructure in health in the 3 northern belts or zones. And when we are talking about infrastructure, we are looking at the community health-based planning system compounds, which is known as the CHIPS compound. We are looking at the hospitals or polyclinics around this place, especially for the hard to reach areas. We know government is trying, but for some of them, they are not functional. And in fact, organizations like CRS have partnered government to see how to reach the last mile communities. Some of them are not motorable. You don't have not just the infrastructure, but even the personnel are not available. So one key issue was also to push for government to look at an innovative way of retaining the health services staff. And I think Upper East was very innovative in trying to retain. They had innovative ways of retaining health personnel in their region. And we want to, as a matter of priority, engage government in the innovative ways that government can retain this health staff within these hard to reach areas. And I think directly related to that is also not just the health we are looking at bridging the ratio, the health personnel ratio, the nurse patient ratio, and the doctor patient ratio. So we don't just intend to drop it here. We want the advocacy, even though the summit has ended, but the advocacy would continue. We want to ensure that no one is left behind.
Okay. So Mr. Engman, Ms. Mashood mentioned health and education, but there are also areas in peace and security that was discussed, investment in socioeconomic infrastructure, and also agri and climate change. So would you want to talk a little bit more about those 3 other areas?
For instance, you cannot discuss development in northern Ghana without making reference to peace and security. You know that some years past, even when you are from the extreme northwestern part of the country and you are somewhere here in the south, and you hear that there's a conflict in northern Ghana, they assume that coming from where you are also working in from the conflict zone. And that was the perception. And it is, it's difficult for you to erase perceptions when they are already made. And that is why in all our discussions, we usually don't take out issues of peace, conflict, or security issues in northern Ghana. But we are happy now to say that, as we all know, one of the longest and protracted conflict in northern Ghana, which is was in the Dagbon area, for some years now has been a thing of the past. And I can assure you, when you come to Tamale, you don't know that there is somebody who belongs to Gate A or Gate B. These things are a thing of the past.
That's good.
And we in the Northern Development Authority and our partners and other stakeholders think that we should try our best to reap this dividends of peace that is prevailing in northern Ghana. That does not mean that there are no pockets of land disputes and chieftaincy disputes in northern Ghana. I think even of late we are hearing some. But we are very much grateful that government or state actors are committed to the peace in northern Ghana. And that's why we think that you cannot invest in northern Ghana if there's no existing peace. So that is why it became part of our team, and I'm happy that His Excellency the Vice President touched on it and said, let's take advantage of the peace in northern Ghana and bring in the right people to invest. We also talked about, I think one of the areas that also came out was issues of tourism, or it was a word, tourism. And we say that, look, there's also a connect there. If your environment is not peaceful, nobody will want to come there for any tourism activity. And one interesting thing and one thing which is different completely with this year's summit is where it was held. I know our partners were a little bit worried from day one when we made them understand that we are rotating the summit centers from northern region. In fact, it must go through the old three northern regions. So it started in Tamale, the oldest of all, went to the next older one, Bolgatanga, in the Upper East region, and now it is time for us to go to the Upper West region. And there were concerns about some people not allowed to move about 20 kilometers to the borders with our sister country, Burkina Faso. But at least I was happy that government came on board and gave us all the necessary support, and then we were able to hold this. And not even in Wa, or went beyond Wa to Jirapa, which is when you stand in Jirapa where the summit was held, you just look ahead and you see the mountains located in Burkina Faso. They were very splendid, and there were two things that were connected there. And I know a participant came and whispered to me that, Stevie, you know something, this environment is very good for this summit, you have nowhere to go. So that's why she mentioned that when it was even 6 or 7 o'clock, you go into the hall and you see everybody glued there because you have nowhere to go. And apart from the fact that it is also somebody who made his investment there, and that's a Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, and that investment is worth it, because anybody looking at the investment there will wonder why somebody went there to do that. But at least it has been able to serve the NDA and Northern Ghana Development Summit a very good purpose. So security was an issue, and we also want to use this forum to appeal to our brothers up north that, look, people are prepared to come up there to invest. I want to just single out the South African High Commission to Ghana. About 3 months ago, a team of investors keen in agriculture came from South Africa, and she directed them to come straight to the north. They are with us there for about 2-3 days. And look, they're not coming to say, look, we are not coming in to invest. We are looking for partnership. If you are already in the business of of agriculture, agricultural mechanization, agribusiness. We are already in the business for also 50, 60 years. Come and partner us, and we'll go ahead and transform your community. And I want to use this opportunity to thank you very much for the support. Not people who are living in the north should take advantage of the peace and let us maintain it. And I think that is the most critical and key prerequisite for transformation in northern Ghana.
Okay, so Ms. Mashood, the whole goal here is through the summits to transform, the northern part of Ghana. Last year and this year, there are two big things that have happened. Of course, we all know about the pandemic, and then quite recently, the Glasgow summit and climate change. So I want to know, since your organization or society has been there for a long time, what impact do you see these two things, both the pandemic and climate change, having on the efforts in terms of growth and development in the northern region? I'll ask you that also, Mr. Engman, but I'll start with you, Ms. Mashood.
Okay, thank you very much, Doug. I think that as an agency, we have an ambition to achieve transformational change at scale. And this doesn't mean that we implement everywhere. So we support systems, government, both government and private sector, to implement in areas that we are not even able to implement. So the global pandemic posed a challenge to us in terms of interventions, even movements of staff, and many others. You spoke about climate change, how it's affecting. Indeed, we are even designing programs in terms of our agriculture, designing programs that are smart agriculture based. And this is why our partnership with NDA is very critical at this point, because it's a focus area for them, and we are looking at the changing trend of climate adaptability and how we can leverage. I think the two institutions can leverage on this to design smart agriculture programming, which includes, or which is with high priority with climate change. And looking at COVID-19, it's something that even as an agency, we are proud to say that we are promoting vaccines, and 100% of our staff are fully vaccinated. And indeed, we are sourcing for funding to, vaccine rollout is a key issue for us, because we recognize the impact of the pandemic on communities that we serve. So for us, anything that brings lives back to normal is something that we want to prioritize, and for which reason we are fully with the NDA to achieve these aims.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to talk more on the impact of the coronavirus. Remember, during the lockdown, I can say that Northern Ghana was hard hit than the others. The reason being that we depend on a lot of, people who live in the north depend on a lot of goods and services provided from the south.
Okay.
But due to the lockdown, I was happy, or we were happy, that at least some other services were allowed to move up. But it affected us in so many ways. And one of the areas I can just touch on is when it was time for us to be doing learning through Zoom or other alternative means of learning by our school children. You realize that definitely a current study undertaken by some stakeholders pointed to the fact that unlike school children or students in the southern sector who had access to internet and other means of learning, our counterparts in the south did not have that, and it reflected in the WASI and BEC examination results. But we in the Northern Development Authority, fortunately around that time, were also given some financial clearance to spend some money in expanding school infrastructure in Northern Ghana. And I can say we built no less than 150 school blocks under the infrastructure for poverty eradication program. We call it IPEP. We're able to consult this school, and as I speak now, we're just in the process of handing over most of these schools to the communities for use. The second one was we realizing that this pandemic was more, infectious in affecting school children and GES in particular. We decided to provide some PPEs, to Ghana Education Service for further distribution to schools as a means of trying to mitigate the effect of the virus. But yes, I know that we are all recovering. In fact, the recovery is not only national, it's a global one. But I think that in this time that we are making this recovery, or we are recovering from the pandemic, it would be good that at least our development partners and head of corporations and missions that came there should give Northern Ghana special attention at this period, so that we'll be able to catch up with the rest of the country.
So you talked about the development partners, and you mentioned civil society agencies, and of course we have the GIPC and a few others. What do you want to say to all these agencies or societies that are working with you and partnering with you to really reach the goals of the NDA in terms of transformational, accelerated development and growth in the northern sector?
Well, we want to urge them on. They should continue to support us. The Northern Development Authority is committed seriously to partnering all these individuals for us to work hard to bring the change that is desired in Northern Ghana. And you see that we have mentioned, if we need to go, that the list is tall. We cannot mention it. But one thing is very clear here. In this summit, the number of people that came up to the Upper West region was actually amazing. It was amazing. I don't know whether it was because of the some people told me that it was because of the non-partisan and neutral posture of the Northern Ghana Development Summit. Yes, that was it. That is a factor. But I just think that people are committed, and I don't want those people to take their commitment away. They should continue to support us. And one of the original problems we envisaged was how people were to move there. And one major stakeholder I would like to mention here is the Minister of Interior and the Minister of Defense that made us understand that, look, there's no cause for alarm. Don't be afraid of getting closer to the borders of other sister countries. Go there, we are there to protect you. And you can see them clearly there. They were there to support us. And I want to particularly make reference to the Ghana Air Force. I've never seen it before, who could, from day one to the last day, to airlift people, the ambassadors, the head of corporations and missions, from here to WA, and we now carrying them with buses from WA to the summit center. And I just want to tell them that, look, we are not going to leave it here. Leaving here starting from next week, we are going to continue with our deliberations and continue to thank them and see how we can conclude on some of these things, especially with the communique that was issued. We'll see how this communique will be communicated properly to government and to all these partners. But we just want to say that our partners, stakeholders, civil society, please, the NDA is committed to work with you. Continue to trust us, and then we'll work together and transform Northern Ghana.
Okay, so we'll take a few comments or questions that have come in. This is from Charles Mambulia. It is common knowledge that share butter exportation is a major income generation for the 5 regions and the country as a whole, but the share trees are being felled aggressively for charcoal production. What is the NDA doing to stop this menace?
Yeah, and I think myself, I did a presentation at the summit on investment opportunities in the area of agriculture, and I remember I touched on shea butter, and I made them to understand that if you go into the data from the GIPC, you'll be surprised to see the volume of shea butter export from Ghana to country. When I look at the countries are about 8 or 9, and the amount involved is huge. And that is why we think that we would like to first of all thank central government for the Tree Crop Development Authority that had been put across. Fortunately, I was at last week. We were at Kwewu in Kotia in the eastern region for a conference with SIGA, the State Interest and Governance Authority. And I had the opportunity to have a chat with the CEO in charge of the Tree Crop Development Authority. And I think very soon they'll be rolling out programs. And the NDA is fully prepared to participate or to collaborate with them or to partner them for us to have put in strategies that can protect the shea tree. In fact, at the end of the presentation, I was able to list 5-6 things we need to do with the shea tree. I said, look, investment in the shea butter factory is not only just the factory, but I think the most critical part is for us to have serious education. We should invest in educating the people of northern Ghana the relevance of the shea. We cannot sacrifice the butter, which is for cosmetic and confectional purposes, for just charcoal. And I think going forward, I won't be surprised next year, we will want to concentrate on that. They will go deep into it and make recommendation to government so that we can even make a policy on charcoal, charcoal use, and charcoal burning.
Okay, another comment is from Haruna Dumakuru, who's from Sunyani. I support the summit and pray for many more, but for us to achieve the aims of these summits, we need to educate ourselves as Northerners on the way we put almost our investments in the southern parts of the country. Corruption is also killing the northern parts of the country by appointees from the north, farm inputs and other essentials smuggled to neighboring countries where the very people who are put in charge of state institutions to protect same. Interesting discussion on development of northern Ghana. The summit remains an event, and that stone cannot trigger development and reduce inequities. And that stone alone. Accountability for action and commitments will be critical. How are the key actors taking the commitments forward for concrete changes, and how are they going to be accountable? So maybe I'll have you try that, Ms. Machine.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. I think that to begin with, we didn't mention Star Ghana, the role that Star Ghana has played in all this. In fact, for the civil society front, Star Ghana played a very key role in mobilizing civil society to support NDA for this forum and even going forward. And as they mentioned, for us, we are looking at not just a talk summit, but we are going to continue to put pressure on duty bearers to make sure that they, the right holders, get what is due them. And in this case, Northern Ghana is a priority for us. So for us, whatever it takes to put pressure on government, they should be rest assured that it didn't end with the summit, that this communique would be submitted to government, and the key issues of this communique would be communicated in our next forum on the progress that we have made. So they should look out for this progress. They should be rest assured that we would report on the progress of this communique, because we surely would follow through with government, not just government, but we have development partners who also invest in the north. We have private sector who are investing in the north. So we intend to continue to engage these actors and to report back to them. So you should be rest assured that you would get feedback from us.
Okay, well, this dovetails nicely into what you said, so I'll talk to you, Mr. Engman. It says this forum is held annually. In order not to turn it into a talk shop, it would be good to understand what was agreed last year, how much of last year's agreements have been achieved, and the way forward. So maybe you can...
last year, because of the COVID, we struggled to have the summit. And the attendance was not good. Most of the people who they attended via Zoom last year. But I can talk about the one 2 years ago, where the discussion was on infrastructure. And we made a passionate appeal to government to work on the Kwalugu multi-purpose dam. And because we realized that this is a dam that's running from the Upper East region, but they're having something to do with the Northeast region. Then it runs into Northern region, and people will be affected there. Even there are some people in the Upper West who think that they migrate to do tomato farming by the banks of the river and go back to their regions. So it was no surprise that following that, government came up and cut the salt for work to start with the Sanya Hydro of China to construct the Kwalugu multi-purpose dam. And look, the multiplier effect of it is going to be this. We have the Kwalugu tomato factory, which is located in Kwalugu. And the reason why the factory is not working 3-4 weeks ago were there. It's just that it is difficult for you to get continuous supply of tomatoes just to feed that. And you go and see every single machinery in the factory is just brand new. So we are going to solve that problem. If you have land, 25,000 hectares of land there, and continuous supply of water for you to farm throughout the year to get tomatoes, that means that factory will be working and to create employment and enhance the local economy of the area. Following that, government, I mentioned earlier that government released money to us, to the Northern Development Authority. Since we're talking about infrastructure, bridging the infrastructure gap in the north, we are going to give you this amount of money for you to go out there under the $1 million equivalent per constituency. You will release to us. Yes, we accept the fact that COVID came in and disrupted a little bit of the flow of this fund to the NDA. But as we speak now, we are making some payment to some contractors who were able to complete that project. And that is out of it that we have been able to build over 150 schools, about 110 clinics. Now they say we shouldn't call them cheap compound because they have the Ghana Health Service meter to understand what constitutes a clinic, and that's what the design were there. So I can say that at least as we speak now, I can say 2 major achievements, but the third one is the continuous interest of our partners in the summit. That is the biggest of all. The biggest achievement is that because every year in and out something new is added, and our development partners are getting interested, even getting to the extreme, and some of them even breaching the rules of their home countries to come as far as to less than 20 kilometers to the border of Ghana and Burkina Faso, but they came up there to participate. And out of it, they will tell you that, look, from today onwards, we are committed and prepared to support you as long as you show us the way. So to me, that is the biggest achievement. But I can say that government in the past succeeded in responding to some of the issues raised at the summit. And that is why we have got some releases. And that is why we are now saying that at the end of this, we are going to set up the Northern Ghana Development Summit Secretariat located within the NDA building. And we and civil society organizations, the head of corporations, will continue to be interacting. It will not just be a one-shop, you just come 2-3 months and prepare and go ahead and have a summit. No, we are going to continue to be working until we have the summit again the following year.
So you made a statement, committed and prepared to support you.
Yes.
Now I want to go back to Star Ghana because I know that they have been a very strong partner. So how did you bring them on board to join you on this journey that you're on right now?
In fact, I wish the Star Ghana people themselves, my brother Brian Tanko and his team were there. They're just a fabulous team. I just can't comprehend. But what I can say on their behalf is that they shared in the vision of Northern Ghana, and they saw the commitment from the Northern Development Authority. And I cannot, I'm very much happy, and the NDA is, we are very much happy with the commitment, especially the technical support they have given to the NDA as we prepare toward the Northern Ghana Development Summit. I know that before the summit, they helped us to prepare 2 technical papers. And this is not a least stakeholder you can take for granted. I wish they themselves were here to speak from their hearts what has been the push, but I tell you that it is one of those institutions that is committed to the development of Northern Ghana, and they and the NDA and others seem to be meeting at the convergence point, and we are just fine to go. But I'll just use this opportunity to say, Mr. Ibrahim Tanko, Eunice and co in the Star Ghana, God bless you.
So, Ms. Mashoud, since you've been in the northern area for a very long time, maybe very briefly, what are some of the challenges that are there that you don't see in the southern part, specifically? I know it's sparse, it's vast, but what are some of the real challenges that you see that you've been working towards very, very assiduously to bridge?
Okay. So I think some of the challenges that are there, I think I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, in agriculture.
Yeah, but more so the inequality stems from the poverty, the high incidence of poverty, and then chieftaincy, long-standing chieftaincy disputes that has led to even health workers, teachers not wanting to move into those areas. So for us, if you for our health programming, if you look at how we implement, we are looking at reaching the last mile communities. So currently we are even looking at how we bridge that gap between where pregnant women or sick people from the last mile communities are transported to the nearest CHIPS compound or clinics. For us, these last mile communities matter so much to us because we know that it will take government a long time to reach those hinterlands. And so over the years, we work in areas where the need is. Mostly we don't just pin ourselves to a particular geographical location, but where the data leads us. So, and in the past, I think I quoted the Human Development Index report UNDP commissioned in 2018, and it was so clear. I mean, these issues of infrastructure in healthcare, was in that report. And for us, currently we are, I think on Tuesday, and you are invited to the commissioning, we are commissioning a state-of-the-art emergency dispatch center, which we are collaborating with National Ambulance Service, where we have this motor tricycle ambulances connected to the National Ambulance Service dashboard, where we are providing healthcare to the last mile communities, pregnant women being conveyed from communities to the health centers. So where the National Ambulance Service meets them halfway and then convey them. So over the years, we have tried to address issues of healthcare, water and sanitation. We have looked at even livelihoods. We have a very unique, it's unique to CRS. We call it Savings and Internal Lending Communities. And for us, all the issues that we talk about, agriculture, health, water and sanitation, we are using this silk to solve those inequality issues. So in terms of healthcare, we are giving mothers the opportunity to be able to invest in their healthcare services. In terms of sanitation, we are empowering women to be able to, not just women, men and women, to be able to access latrines. In agriculture, we support them to be able to save towards buying farm inputs, fertilizers, among many other issues. So for us, it's been all development issues around the northern belt.
So we're running out of time. So I think what she said was a great wrap-up for her. So I wanted to know what you had to say in terms of your closing remarks.
Yes, I think the list is tall for us to thank all partners that supported this Northern Ghana Development Summit to a success. But there was somebody who made a point on Northerners investing in the North. I will not want to sound parochial in that, but recent studies have pointed to the fact that domestic remittances from the south to the north is so huge that it has contributed to health improvement and enrollment in education in Northern Ghana. Because every business person will want to make an investment with the hope that your initial capital is realized and probably you can do a second investment somewhere.
Okay.
But the point is that investment in the north is not all that bad. Probably when we are talking about external investment from foreigners, probably foreign direct investment, fine. But probably a Ghanaian of sardine extraction investing in the north is common, and it is increasing in northern Ghana.
It's something you would like to see more.
It's something we want to see more.
Okay.
But what I would want to conclude is that we are grateful to especially our sponsors, Agricultural Development Bank, SIGA, the hotel where this summit was held. Eric Johnson, we thank you very much for the support. We Plan International, Care International, GDC, the Canadian Embassy, Supertech for branding, and we just can't mention all. We just want to say that let's continue to collaborate. We are committed to this, to transformative measures in northern Ghana, and we want all of them to continue to give us the support, and we will not disappoint them.
All right, thank you so much. So thank you so much for joining us on tonight's Talking Points, and as always, a very special thank you to my guest, Ms. Jamila Mashood, Project Manager, Sector Influence, Catholic Relief Services, and Mr. Stephen Engman, Deputy CEO of the Northern Development Authority. I'm Dr. Nimright, and this has been Talking Points. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and as always, please be and stay safe. Till next week.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.